having played over 800 hours of Stellaris, I figured it's time for me to share some of my knowledge of the game, starting with creating an empire. For this series, I'm using all of the DLC, though I will do my best to explain the fundamentals in a way that should apply to everyone, even this guy. New game, create new. Instead of starting with species appearance, I will jump straight to government and ethics. Ethics are the core belief of your empire, and the first decision I always make, as it establishes the foundations of your entire playthrough. Ethics are arranged in a circle, with opposing beliefs on opposite sides. Militarist versus pacifist. Xenophobe versus xenophile. Egalitarian versus authoritarian. Materialist versus spiritualist. Gestalt consciousness is for machine intelligences and hive minds, which don't have ethics like regular empires. I plan to cover those in a later episode. Each ethic has a fanatic version, indicated by an orange color. Every normal empire may pick either 3 unopposing ethics, or 1 fanatic and 1 regular ethic. Each ethic comes with its own bonuses and limitations, such as pacifists being unable to declare wars of aggression. You can change your ethics mid-game using factions, but generally I only do that for roleplay reasons. Authority is primarily a representation of how the leader of an empire is chosen, and how long they're in office. This is also how you designate your empire as a hive mind or a machine intelligence. You can change your authority mid-game using Unity. Civics are more specific modifiers related to your government that can either have game-changing effects, such as being able to raise the dead, or more passive stat boosts, such as cheaper buildings. Which civics you can choose depend on your ethics and authority. At start, you may only pick 2 civics, but can raise that number to 3 with technology during the game. Next, I typically select my origin. Origins represent the unique situation your empire starts in, and have radical effects on the early game, such as beginning on a planet that is doomed to explode, or cohabiting your star system with a giant space dragon. You can't change your origin once the game starts. After that, I go back up to appearance. This selection is mostly aesthetic, with a few exceptions. Machine portraits require the machine intelligence authority. Lithoids consume rocks instead of food, among other changes, and the plantoid and fungoid portraits unlock a few unique traits. What are traits? They represent the genetics, or in the case of machines, design, of a species. Trait points are used to buy traits for up to a total of 5. Using genetic modification, or robomodding, you can change your traits mid-game. Blue traits provide bonuses, and red traits give more trait points, at the cost of a debuff. Species name and name lists are purely for flavor, so pick and choose as you wish. Next, I select my homeworld's name and class. The starting solar system option changes the layout of the planet and stars in your starting system. If you wish to start on Earth, you can select the Sol system and set your planet class to continental. Planet class affects both the appearance of your starting planet and your species' habitability preference. Put simply, the more foreign a planet is, the larger the penalty a species gets for living on that planet, which is represented by percent habitability. A thing to note, planets in the same climate, dry, wet, or frozen, are more preferable than planets of a different climate. A species starting on an Arctic world will prefer a tundra world over a tropical world, but will prefer Arctic worlds the most. Planet class can be changed mid-game via terraforming, or alternatively you can change your species' preferred planet class via genetic modification. Keep in mind, some origins, such as Void Dwellers, override your selected planet class. City appearance is purely cosmetic. Advisor voice changes the flavor of the notifications during the game. Empire name, flag, ship appearance, and ruler are also only cosmetic. When you are satisfied, you can save and click done to start the game. If you're a beginner to Stellaris and you're overwhelmed with all the choices, don't worry, because I am going to now create a simple empire, which I would recommend for a first playthrough, and will be using over the course of this series for demonstrative purposes. I'm going with fanatic militarist and xenophile, as it will reduce the chance of AI declaring war on me, by both increasing my own military strength and improving other empires' opinions of me. I recommend picking dictatorial or imperial, as frequently changing leaders could be overwhelming for a beginner. I'm choosing environmentalist and distinguished admiralty for their useful passive bonuses. I recommend starting with prosperous unification for its simplicity. As for portraits, I recommend anything apart from machine or lithoid. I've chosen this one as it is one of my favorites. I'm going with just adaptive for my traits, as it will allow for more flexibility in colonization, while also not adding any debuffs. I'm choosing continental, as I may be wrong, but I feel like wet planet classes generate more frequently than dry or frozen. It also seems like the best fit for the portrait I chose. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more Stellaris guides like this, the link to the playlist is in the description.